Hello, and welcome back for another edition of the AI Insiders Podcast, the flagship podcast of Boo Boos. Because you can't say AI without sounding like you stubbed your toe. AI! Hi, I'm Adam Russell. I'm director of the AI division at University of Southern California's Information Sciences Institute, an increasingly expert dad joke teller. On this podcast, I take the chance to get to know my colleagues behind the AI at ISI as part of my quest to test my hypothesis that better understanding the humans behind AI, the humans who are actually doing it, working with it, testing it, sometimes probably cursing at it, perhaps periodically trying not to anger it, is also key to also better understanding what kind of world we might be ushering in, or at least the world that people are hoping to usher in by creating and deploying these machines and algorithms that can do things that would have been thought impossible only a few years ago. And as with any increasingly powerful technology, AI comes with immense promise, but also significant risks, some of which are even now trying to understand. So who better to give us some insights into those bigger questions, where the answers could well shape our collective futures, than the people who are actually inside AI, aka the AI insiders. And one relatively recent AI insider, though don't let his age and boyish charm fool you, because this guy is a rising star, is my guest today, Luca Luccheri. Luca is a research scientist at ISI and about to become a research assistant professor in the computer science department at University of Southern California. And he comes to us by way of a very interesting path, which we will hopefully explore a little further today. And maybe, just maybe, get a good AI joke that doesn't actually make us sound like we've stubbed our toes. Luca, welcome to AI Insiders.
Hello, Adam. I appreciate your kind words and the opportunity to be here.
So, what the heck has happened to Luca?
Taught me. April AI Fool's Day in full swing, right? LOL.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm well, Luca. Thank you. Yeah, well done. This is going to be fun.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the nice words. Thank you for doing this. It's a great opportunity.
Happy to have you, man. Thanks for taking the time because you're busy too. So let's start with a question. First of all, about what you're doing, but don't tell me. Tell 10-year-old Luca what you're doing. What is this AI thing? How do we get into it? And what are we doing then?
So I think I will say that I use computers to help stop the bad guys on the internet. And I will say, you know how in cartoons, heroes stop villains from doing mean things? Well, I do something like that, but in the online world. So, you know that some people try to trick others, make them believe things that aren't true, or even try to make them do things that aren't nice. So my job is to find these bad people and stop them so that everyone can feel safe when they are using the internet or playing on social media.
Okay. So that's interesting. So I, as a 10-year-old, would have heard that and thought like, awesome, you have built a giant transformer-like suit and you are wandering the globe, pulling bad guys out of their lairs. That's not what you mean. And you know, any good superhero story, the good guy isn't always good. Sometimes there's sort of this bad guy nature, right? I think of Batman. So I'll be really interested to hear like, how can you tell the difference between bad guys and good guys when the real world is gray?
That's right. That's right. The main assumption there is that we try to identify signals of coordination or campaigns in particular that appear to be orchestrated. So we try to find signals that tell us, okay, these guys are operating in a coordinated fashion to influence public opinion, to sway an election, or to manipulate social media platforms. So we have clear signals that they're doing that with malicious purposes.
Malicious purposes, because I can think of other things like public health, for example, where you would actually want coordinated messaging, right? You would want people to be pushing the right message as broadly as possible in coordination, but it's the malicious nature of this. How do you determine the malicious nature of what people are trying to do?
It starts from the understanding of the tactics, and some of these tactics are not allowed on social media platforms. For instance, the use of automation like bots, for instance, or the hijacking of existing content like existing hashtags, the use of tactics to create an illusion of public consensus, for instance, by sharing similar content or content that might appear to be the same, but that convey the same message. So the use of these tactics combined with the credibility of the content that might be ranging from very low to questionable, is also another signal of this malicious intent.
The other thing about good guys, I think the advantage sometimes good guys will have is that they can build bigger and better teams than bad guys. Bad guys oftentimes are out for themselves. When building teams of good guys, I like to ask, what do you think is your sort of secret power, your superpower that you bring to teams?
So I think my superpower is creativity, but I also think I'm very good at connecting the dots, both with research and with people. And given that you said something about composing team, I will start by saying how I think I'm good at connecting the dots with people. And this happens both in mentoring and collaboration, where I try to connect people with different skills who can help and improve each other's research. For instance, I encourage students to collaborate and sometimes compose teams with students that complement each other. And I think this is a very important thing because, especially in this domain, in computer science and AI, students and people in general tend to work by themselves. They don't cooperating and collaborating with each other. But I strongly believe the opposite, probably also because of my past and my experience in sports. But this is another topic. So,
No. What is it? What experience is that?
So I think sports and in particular playing soccer turned out to be surprisingly beneficial for my work. I think that being part of a team taught me the importance of collaboration, the team spirit and the loyalty within the dressing room, the respect towards the coach. I learned to support my teammates through both the highs and lows, celebrating victories, enduring losses together. We win together, we lose together. And I think all these experiences helped me a lot in my career by enhancing my ability to drive teamwork, respect my colleagues, but also mentor effectively and being an attentive listener as well.
That it sounds convincing to me. Of course, I'm biased coming from my own background in rugby. Either way, though, I think that is interesting that the team sport thing has infused kind of how you think about this and giving your students in particular sets and reps about building teams, because it is, it's not yet a science and it's not something that's actually necessarily prioritized. And certainly in our world, as you point out, and I don't know how well explored that is yet, but I wanted to ask, what are you most worried about then with AI?
I have three main problems or three main interconnected facets about the problem connected to AI that are explainability, regulation, and accountability. Explainability, because first of all, explainability pertains to the ability to understand how AI makes their decision. And therefore, as these models become more complex and their decision-making process become less transparent, these always lead to what is called black box algorithms. And this lack of clarity can be problematic, especially in critical areas like healthcare, finance, legal systems, where, of course, the understanding of the rationale behind decision is crucial. Regulation is something I really care about, and is another significant challenge because the lack of regulation can lead to misuse or even unintended consequences. And I think, therefore, regulation is needed to ensure AI is developed in a way that is safe and also ethical and respects human rights.
And accountability.
Accountability is tied to both explainability and regulation because it addresses the question of who is responsible when AI systems make errors or cause harm. And this is not trivial. Determining who is accountable is complex, especially when multiple stakeholders are involved in the design of these technologies.
Yeah, no, those are sticky wickets, as I say. Let me ask you again, the first of probably many unfair questions. If we don't get explainability right, and we don't get regulation right, and we don't get accountability right, what are you most worried about? Where do we end up in this sort of future scenario in which we miss the targets on those?
Well, I think it will become sort of Wild West where everything can happen without any explanation. We can use AI and then we can blame AI for their decision. And it will be particularly concerning for critical areas as the one that I just mentioned, where we need to find who is the responsible. So we cannot use AI in healthcare and then, I don't know, some procedures goes wrong and
What do you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
who's responsible there? And if we don't solve these problems, it will be quite difficult to imagine AI used on a large scale or for
Yeah.
an important application. Then, of course, we can use AI for things that are not that crucial or for applications that are less important. Yes, of course. But if we want to use it in large scale, I think we need to solve these three aspects.
Yeah. If we're going to solve the really hard problems, we're going to need that. If you had, so we're going to do hypothetical dinners. So the first hypothetical dinner you have, given the complexities we're facing, the trends, the confusion, uncertainty of the future, who would you have dinner with, either living or dead, that you think would provide some much needed insight on how we should think about the future?
Well, I will say Alan Turing. I will be curious to understand his point of view on the risk of AI and how or if it will be potentially regulated. But most importantly, probably I will ask him how we can find ways to distinguish content generated by AI from content created by humans. And this is one of the challenges that we are facing nowadays, especially when it comes to social media and the spreading of inauthentic content. So I would like to have his point of view.
Interesting. Okay. And I think it would be fascinating. The second dinner you get to have is with a leader of a major commercial lab. So it could be somebody like Sam Altman, for example. And we don't have to pick on the individual, but if you had an opportunity to talk to someone at that level, what questions would you ask or what would you want to know about the decisions they're making?
Wow, this is a fantastic question. I will probably pick one of the social media CEO
Okay.
or founder and ask them why can't we work together? Like why there's this friction between universities and private companies. I know the answer, but I want to ask them why.
See if they tell the truth.
Yeah. I think that will be an interesting conversation for me.
I'd like to be at both of those dinners, if that's all right, if you arrange them. I have some questions for both.
I just want to say I like cooking, so I would like to cook for my guest. And I don't know, for Alan Turing, probably I can tell him, oh, do you think this is AI generated or cooked by me? That will be a Alan Turing test.
Oh, what's that? That's going to fall too, I'm sure, at some point. But I don't doubt that you're, culinary expert. What's your signature dish? If you had to, if Alan Turing were coming, what would you make?
Well, I have too many. As an Italian, I love cooking and I love food in general. But for a pasta, I will say carbonara. I love carbonara.
Oh, yeah, good. What do you, given as we talked about the confusion, the uncertainty, sometimes the fears, the hype around AI, what do your family and friends think about what you do?
Oh, that's they don't know actually. They are always saying, "Oh, look, but what do you do?" Tell us, like, explain.
But you just explained it to your 10-year-old self.
Yeah, that's what I do. But then they are, yeah, but practically, what do you do? Like in your routine, like you wake up and then what do you do? Like you.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair question. Yeah, what does that look like? The perception that you go to the AI farm and you milk the AI cows and produce the AI bucket. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, because for them it's so abstract. They're like, but I don't really understand. But try to explain me, like, and I tell them, okay, I sit on my desk and then I start meetings or I start coding. I start to interact with students and I manage projects and I try to coordinate with different people, different stakeholders within the project. So it's a mix of different things, but still it's very difficult for them to practically understand what
No, I get that, because you can make it sound very boring if you're not careful, because it does sound like an office job. And yet, a reminder that you're dealing with probably one of the most important like technological inflection points
Yeah,
in
yeah,
our history. So you gotta get that right.
yeah. Sometimes if I want to show off, I say, "Oh, I cannot really talk about that. I work with the government."
Yeah, the old classic. I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Yeah.
Um, if AI didn't exist, if you hadn't gone into computer science, what would you be doing instead?
I think I will be either a detective or a chef, both for the creativity
Yeah.
and for the idea that they connect different clues or ingredients from different sources. I think this comes back also to my heroes or my inspiration from the past, and one of those is Sherlock Holmes. And in particular, I used to read many books from by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle on Sherlock Holmes. And I think from there, I always loved the idea of being a detective or an investigator, trying to identify the bad guys, investigate illegal activities, and find new leads, which is somehow connected to what I do nowadays with the internet or online platforms. So I think that inspired me. And if I were not to work on AI, I think the detective could be one of the jobs that I would like to do.
Totally unfair. There's no right answer, but I just want to get your thoughts on this. And this will be fascinating, given some of the things you brought up already. Would you rather see AI surpass humans in creativity or empathy?
I will say empathy.
Why?
Well, I think because human creativity is the most beautiful thing that we have, and empathy is something that we should still learning. I think not everybody has empathy, and we should learn that. So I would love to have AI that has this capability. I think that would be helpful also to teach empathy to humans.
That's a great take that I've not heard. Yeah, I wanted to learn empathy or surpass us because it can then in turn teach us. Do you have a favorite joke about AI?
Well, I think I've done my best, and I don't know if it was successful today. I was trying to use ChatGPT for automatically greeting you. It took some time, so I'm a bit disappointed about. It took some time to respond to your question.
All right. Well, how about this? Since we're running out of time, I want to give you a heads up. Is there something you want to say again via Chat GPT as a farewell?
No, I prefer saying goodbye to you in person and with my voice.
I'll
without
take that.
explanation.
So yeah, again, Luca, thank you very much for taking the time out of your increasingly busy day, where you're doing, the impressive things that people do at ISI, and partly why I'm here. You're teaching, you're researching, and really importantly, you're building teams, right? Which I personally appreciate, again, both as a sports person, but also as someone who's going to benefit directly from that team building. So I look forward to continuing to help you however I can in the space, and continue to call you part of the team.
Thank you, Adam. My pleasure, and looking forward to working with you and ISI in the future.
Rock on. All right. If you enjoy these short podcasts, and really short is a blessing in a world of 2-hour podcasts, which is basically an in-flight movie. Come on, people. Please do what really only you can do. Rate us, score us, evaluate us, grade us, subscribe, spread the word, send us feedback, offer up brave and unfair questions, and of course, just keep listening and learning. And join us, please, again for another episode of AI Insiders, where we'll keep exploring, keep learning, and keep humanizing AI to help navigate our way through this weird, weird world, trying to do what humans do best when they face these kinds of challenges, working together as if all our lives depend on each other, because they do. So for now, for the future, fight on.